and welcome to Crowforest Reviews. Hello and welcome to Crowforest Reviews. If you're watching this, it means that Dr. Noomian has been successful in his attempts to fix the internet. Fix the internet. Fix the internet. Attempts to fix the internet. Hello and welcome to Crowforest Reviews. If you're watching this, it means that Dr. Noomian has been successful in his attempts to fix the internet. He's been working very hard to fix it ever since a certain bunny broke it.
Oh, sure. Blame the bunny.
It's your fault! Anyway, if you're wondering why you haven't been able to get on the internet lately, yeah, that's why. Sorry. But like I say, Dr. Noomian is working to fix it as we speak. Speaking of which, how are you coming, Doc?
Oh, it's going fine. I think I've just about got it. I'm alright.
The internet's never coming back, is it? Well, on the off chance that it does come back, I guess I might as well do my review. And considering the current situation, what better to talk about than another time that an idiot with an overly high opinion of himself almost brought the world to an end using the internet? I am, of course, referring to WarGames. You know, on second thought, that's not quite as strong of a parallel as I thought it was. Oh well, this is WarGames.
So the movie opens with the replacement team for the nuclear bunker coming into said bunker to relieve the previous shift.
Stand clear.
We immediately see that this is a fictional universe, because this bunker has way tighter security than the real one, where they routinely leave the door open. No, seriously.
This enormous outer door designed to protect the corridor leading to the capsule. They can't close it because of a broken part, so it's propped open with a crowbar and marked with a danger tag.
4 Air Force officers who hold the launch keys to nuclear missiles, leaving open the blast door that's supposed to prevent terrorists from entering the capsule. This while another slept inside, which is allowed only if the door is closed. And who discovered this? In one case, it was a maintenance team. In another case, it was discovered by someone delivering food.
We follow them down the hallway, where we see the next major shift from reality. The nice fancy top-of-the-line computers they have to work with instead of the floppy disks they have in real life.
The equipment is ancient. This, for example, is one of the computers that would receive a launch order from the president. It uses floppy disks, the really old, big ones.
Wow. Not even 3 minutes in, and already this is totally unrealistic.
Got a red light, sir.
What on?
Number 8, warhead alarm.
Give a thump with your finger.
And their emergency procedures are akin to Weird Al's medical expertise. Well, we're in good hands.
So anyway, they continue to flip random switches until an alarm goes off. No doubt caused by one of the random switches.
Skybird, this is Dropkick with a red dash alpha message in 2 parts. Break.
Red alpha message in 2 farts? What?
Well, anyway, that apparently means launch the missiles, so they proceed to do that. And we proceed to get a very tense missile launch drill.
3,
2, 1, mark.
T-minus 50.
Number 1 enabled, 2 enabled, 3 enabled. 7, 8, 9.
Wait, this is a drill, isn't it? Or is this just a really short movie?
Anyway, when it gets down to it, one of the officers can't go through with it, and so the plug is pulled on the drill, and a meeting is called to address the problem.
Well, look, now, are we positive that these men had no way of knowing this was only a test?
I've spoken to each of these men. They all believed it was the real deal.
Hey, wait a minute. If that was only a drill, then why did the doors open? I think that guy just saved the world by failing the test. Wow, someone at corporate just screwed up royal. Tests are not supposed to involve launching live missiles.
Anyway, the leaders of the project are not happy by the guy's failure to launch the missiles, and one of them proposes that they fire everyone and replace them with robots. Because that never ends badly.
I think we ought to take the men out of the loop, whose only problem is that they're human beings. But in, 30 days, we could replace them with electronic relays. Get the men out of the loop.
Wait a minute. Are you just forgetting that this guy's failure to launch the missiles just saved the world? You shouldn't be firing this guy. You should be giving him a medal for accidental hero of the millennium.
Anyway, movie mistakes aside, the group proceeds to have a very legitimate discussion about the merits of having the human element of chance versus the computer element of certainty, or the argument of emotion versus logic.
Both arguments have merits. Do you want the computer to launch the missiles without hesitation based purely on the facts? Or do you want the human to launch the missiles only after careful consideration of the circumstances surrounding the facts?
Anyway, they decide to go with the computers and logic, and they decide that this will be the perfect job for their new supercomputer, the Whopper.
Or the War Operations Plan and Response Computer.
The Whopper spends all its time thinking about World War III. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
February 29th is its day off. We don't want to seem unreasonable. Wow, 1 day off every 4 years. Even Dobby gets 1 day off a month. No wonder this thing tries to kill him later.
Anyway, they continue to debate the merits of using the Whopper.
All right, gentlemen. I think I'm going to recommend McKittrick's idea to the president, and I'll get back to you on this.
Thank you. You won't regret this.
That's Hollywood for you will most definitely regret this when an ironic twist in the third act comes back to bite you in the ass. The really ironic thing is that if he hadn't said anything, his plan would have worked perfectly. Fate's kind of a bitch that way.
So cut over to our lead at a video game arcade. David is playing a game while he's late for class.
Because he's kind of an idiot that way.
Damn.
Bye. So he rushes off to class and gets sent to the principal's office, where he proceeds to steal a password for the school's database. What a nice guy.
Anyway, after class, or possibly after sitting in the principal's office all day, it's not really clear, he catches a ride home with his friend Jennifer.
You want to ride home?
Yeah. So listen, I was wondering if I could ride you home. Give you a ride home.
No. This is not a Michael Bay movie.
You have to make up biology.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Why don't you come up to my house and I'll show you?
What are you going to show me?
I'm going to show you. I'll show you how you doing.
Or maybe it is? This dialogue does seem awfully similar.
So anyway, David takes Jennifer up to his room and shows her his thing.
I'll show you my thing. Thing. It's my hardware. My equipment.
So he hacks into the school's database and changes both of their grades.
Later that night, he sees an ad for a new online game. So he writes a program on his computer to call every number in the area code of the game until he gets a hit.
The next day, David checks his computer to see if the program has found anything yet. But it's still running. But it has found an airport, so David books 2 tickets to Paris, just to screw with their system.
10 a.m. Where should we go? All right, Miss Mac. You're confirmed on Pan Am's Flight 114, leaving Chicago's O'Hare Airport at 8:15 a.m. on 18 August.
Wow! What an asshole!
Anyway, the program runs a bit more, and it finds a mysterious IP address that won't identify itself, but it is tagged with game. So he tries to break in, but is initially unsuccessful, so he goes to see his computer geek friends to get advice.
They tell him that he needs to find a back door into the system, and that to do that he must learn as much as he can about the creator of the system. And thus we get a hacking montage. This is actually a lot more realistic than most hacking montages. It's just him trying different passwords and failing to get into the system. More hacking montages need to be like this. Well, not completely like this. Put on a shirt!
So anyway, after the montage, Jennifer goes up to David's room and...
Where have you been?
What?
Didn't I just tell you to put on a shirt?
Well, I was trying to find out more about the guy who designed those game programs so I could get his secret password.
That's better. I kind of lost track of what was going on. What were they saying?
Well, I haven't seen you all week in school. Are you sick?
What? He missed a week of school? How is he getting away with any of this?
Anyway, after doing a little more research, they figure out that the creator of the system was a guy named Falcon, and after reading a newspaper clipping of his obituary, they realize that the password must be Joshua, the name of his deceased son.
Did you know the child and his mother were killed in a car crash?
Yeah, I
In
know.
the years that followed the tragic loss of his family, Dr. Falcon's health deteriorated.
What was his name? Falcon's kid.
Joshua.
So David types in the password and it works.
Wow. We got something.
See? This is why you should always change the default password. Yes, I know, backdoor.
So anyway, David starts talking to the computer, and he tells it that he wants to play Global Thermonuclear War.
Let's play Global Thermonuclear War. Fine.
The computer reluctantly agrees to this arrangement, and David starts listing his targets.
So cut over to Mission Control, where they see the game pop up on the screen.
Only they don't think it's fun, and they don't think it's a game.
Everyone at Mission Control scrambles to carry out emergency procedures, wondering how the missiles got so close to them without anyone noticing. But just as quickly as they appeared, they just disappear. Why? Because David had to take out the trash, and he shut down the program.
And not a moment too soon. They were about to launch the missiles. Wow, I guess you can add David to the list of accidental heroes. But on the other hand, he was also kind of the accidental villain, so I guess it evens out.
Anyway, later that day, David sees a news report about a malfunction at the missile silo that almost ended very badly, and he realizes that he's the one who caused it.
Awkward. Oh well, I guess he can always tweet about it. Oh wait, this was before the days of Twitter. Otherwise he totally would have done that.
Anyway, he calls Jennifer to talk about the situation, and Jennifer reassures him that they probably didn't trace the call.
Maybe they didn't trace the call, huh?
Right, maybe they didn't trace the call. I'm sure they didn't trace the call.
Really? The government didn't trace the call of the guy who almost blew up the planet? How are you that stupid? They're probably listening to you right now.
So anyway, David frantically tries to throw away everything linking him to the crime, but before he can complete this task, he gets a phone call from the Whopper.
Greetings, Professor Falcon.
David tries desperately to convince the Whopper that he's not Falcon.
I am not Falcon. Falcon is dead.
Anyway, David realizes that the Whopper is going to continue to play the game out to the end, unless he does something to stop it.
So the fate of the world is in his hands. Well, we're screwed.
So anyway, David walks out of the product placement holding his product placement when he notices a bunch of highly conspicuous FBI agents following him. David tries to get away, but the agents catch him and force him into their vehicle.
And no one notices anything. Must be the sunglasses. You're practically invisible with those things on. See? Oh, and then we get this brief little scene.
Christina, would you press this button right here, please? The red one.
The one in the middle.
Yes, ma'am, the one in the middle. Oh my God, that's the wrong one. Just kidding. That's a joke. You didn't blow up anything. Look what you did do.
This scene was clearly needed to humanize the government officials and show us that they're not mysterious, scary goons. They're people just like the rest of us. They're assholes too.
Meanwhile, in the war room...
No, not that one. The real one.
Everyone is discussing the digital break-in and the far-reaching and disturbing implications of it, such as the fact that one of them now looks like an idiot.
What the hell is going on, John? I woke up the president, I told him we were under attack by the Russians. You have any idea what kind of an idiot that makes me look like?
So you'd rather actually be at war than have it be a false alarm? No, you don't look like an idiot. You are an idiot!
So anyway, they go to talk to David, who's been placed in a holding cell.
Computer facility here. All right, Sergeant, these aren't necessary, the handcuffs?
No, sir.
Yeah.
No! Don't take the handcuffs off! Putting him in handcuffs was the first intelligent thing done in the movie. Well, the first intelligent thing that wasn't a complete accident.
7, 6, 5.
I think we are gonna need a little time to sort things out here.
How much time?
25 to life.
Anyway, David and Mustache Guy, who may or may not have a name, I wasn't really paying attention, take a walk through the on-site laundromat while they discuss the kerfuffle.
Wait, why do they have an on-site laundromat?
Why? Why? For science, of course! Do you have any idea how hard it is for a busy scientist to keep up with the laundry? It's ridiculous! But now I can have it running in the background while I'm making brilliant discoveries! It's genius! Genius! Ooh, my laundry's done.
This machine over here runs this game program.
No, it doesn't. That's the dryer, you idiot. Huh, you call yourself a scientist. Oh, you meant that one. My bad.
Anyway, Mustache Guy takes a minute out from their laundry run to give David a lesson in the DEFCON system.
If we hadn't caught it in time, it might have gone to DEFCON 1. You know what that means, David?
No, what does that mean?
World War III.
Do you know what DEFCON 1 means? Yes, but I'm going to say no so that you have an opening to say your trailer line. Oh, who am I kidding? He legitimately didn't know that.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Anyway, they go into Mustache's office, and Mustache asks David who he's working with.
Who you going to Paris with?
Paris? Oh, no, you don't understand.
Now, you had reservations for 2 to Paris.
Oh, so that stupid prank he pulled earlier finally came back to bite him in the ass. Nice.
I don't think I should say anything else until I talk to a lawyer.
Smart move, kid.
I think we better forget about the lawyer crap until I get a few answers out of you myself.
And apparently Mustache Guy has decided to implement the Patriot Act a few years early. Can he do that?
Anyway, Mustache gets called away after the most awkward stare-off ever, and then he receives this bit of news.
What's going on?
It's just been a very serious penetration into our Whopper execution order file.
Not a good enough reason!
So anyway, finding himself alone in the room, David uses a computer terminal to once again hack into the Whopper.
Greetings, Professor Vulcan.
Wait a minute. They already knew that he had a backdoor password into the system, and yet they still left him alone in a room with a computer terminal with a direct interface to the Whopper. What were they expecting to happen?
Anyway, David asks the Whopper if it's playing a game or if it's real, to which the Whopper replies,
"What's the difference?"
This, of course, is supposed to be a shocking moment. But considering the opening scene, I'm not entirely sure that the humans know the difference between games and reality. So how is the Whopper supposed to make that distinction?
Anyway, the agents come back into the room and drag David away from the computer.
I know what's going on. I'll be escorting you to federal authorities in Denver, where you'll be placed under arrest pending indictment for espionage.
Espionage? You practically gift-wrapped classified information and handed it to him. I think you should be arrested for espionage. Or at least criminal stupidity.
So they lock David in a medical supply room, and we get our MacGyver moment, as he has to escape using only medical supplies.
Ooh, maybe he can make wings for himself using band-aids. Just don't fly too close to the sun or the adhesive will melt. Or that works too.
Using multimodal reflection sorting.
So he gets out and sneaks down the hall, with no one seeing him.
His MacGyver contraption apparently makes him invisible too. And it didn't even use sunglasses.
Agents come to the door to get David out, but of course they can't get in, due to David's clever use of multimodal reflection sorting. David sneaks downstairs through the human-sized ventilation duct,
which they should probably consider blocking off.
And he joins the tour group that just happens to be there.
Convenient.
Anyway, having escaped the facility, David hitches a ride to the nearest payphone, where he hacks into it with a piece of metal.
Well, to be fair, that might actually be how those things worked. Nobody really knows anymore.
Anyway, he uses his magic phone call to call Jennifer and ask her to buy him a plane ticket to Plot MacGuffin Island, where the formerly dead Professor Falcon lives.
Jennifer agrees to this arrangement, and then she meets him at the airport, because if she's going to buy the plane ticket, then at the very least she wants to be included in the climax.
They rush to get on the ferry, jumping on just in time.
I give that 2 stars. I mean, it's alright, but it's no... Now that is how you do an epic ferry jump.
Anyway, they get off the ferry on the other side, and they step right onto the set of Jurassic Park.
Okay, I'm very confused. What's the pterodactyl doing there?
Oh, shit! What was that?
No.
Oh, it was a remote control pterodactyl. Wait, I'm still confused. What?
I tell you, the sky was once filled with them.
The sky was once filled with remote control pterodactyls? No, I'm pretty sure I would remember that.
Anyway, cut back to Mission Control, where...
Radar reports 2 unknown tracks are penetrating the Alaskan Air Defense Zone.
Still not a good enough reason.
So they send out some Independence Day stock footage to get a visual confirmation of the enemy planes, but there's nothing there.
Brass hat, we got nothing on radar and 40 miles visibility. There's nothing out there, General, just blue skies.
And this is why fact-checking is important.
So anyway, back with Professor Falcon and company. Falcon tells David and Jennifer that he was never able to teach the computer about futility.
That I never could get Joshua to learn the most important lesson.
What's that?
Futility?
You're never able to teach the computer about futility? Well, that's easy. Just show it the best of both worlds.
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
So anyway, after some pointless angsting, they all fly off to save the world in Professor Falcon's helicopter, which he apparently had the whole time, but was holding out for a dramatic climax.
Well, at least he had his priorities in order. I'd put screwing with David ahead of saving the world, too.
So they rushed to get into the facility before lockdown, which they wouldn't have had to worry about if Falcon hadn't decided to be all dramatic, but whatever, they get in just in time. So David has to teach the Whopper about futility, and to subsequently stop playing the game. But before they can do that, they have to convince the government agents that it is just a game.
Jack, there's nothing to indicate a simulation at all. Everything's working perfectly.
But does it make any sense?
So they hold off launching the missiles, realizing that it's their only chance of survival.
So the fake missiles hit their fake targets, and for a minute everything seems fine. But then they realize that the computer is about to launch a retaliatory strike.
Only this one won't be fake.
Mr. McKittrick, after very careful consideration, sir, I've come to the conclusion that your new defense system sucks.
Actually, it blows.
What?
So, under the circumstances, the government decides that the best course of action is to send Russia an apology tweet and hope for the best. Okay, they don't do that. Actually, they don't do much of anything. But it's okay, David has a plan. And what is his epic plan to save the world? Play tic-tac-toe. Well, we're doomed.
So we get an epic tic-tac-toe montage, wherein the computer plays itself repeatedly, constantly failing to beat the game. Then, after trying every possible combination, it starts running through different scenarios with the global thermonuclear war game.
With the same results, until it finally comes to the inevitable conclusion.
The only winning move is not to play.
So the Whopper shuts down the game, and the base returns to DEFCON 5. And the United States is now, and forevermore, seriously in the doghouse of nations. So that was WarGames. How was it? That was actually really good. Despite having more than a few plot holes here and there, the movie actually holds up remarkably well. They don't fall into the usual traps of Hollywood hacking, most of the time.
They introduced the idea of using a backdoor password, and at the climax they used a real technique for teaching AI's futility.
So overall, very good movie, and I would definitely recommend it. Well, that's all for now. Until next time, here's your kid-friendly clip of the day.
If we're extinguished, there's nothing natural about that. It's just stupid.
Oh, it's all right. I've planned ahead. We're just 3 miles from a primary target. A millisecond of brilliant light, and we're vaporized. Much more fortunate than the millions who'll wander sightless through the smoldering aftermath. We'll be spared the horror of survival.